overarching structure unless there is an analytic aspect to your intelligence. Again, as I told you in the beginning, my analysis is purely theoretical, so this applies to any mechanisms of, this is a systems design approach to the analysis of intelligence, right? So at this level, right, what we have is the analytic, or the analysis of that information. A-N-A-L-Y-S-I-S, right? So we have the collection of information, and that information, that collected information, is then transferred to another internal systemic analytic component part of my intelligence community. And what this part of my intelligence community does is they take the transferred information and they start analyzing. They look for connections, they look for patterns, they do analysis, right? They do analysis, right? So there's going to be an analysis of this information. Then what ends up happening is that that information is disseminated. E-M-I-N-A-T-E-D, right? Then that information is going to be disseminated. The dissemination of that information might be top secret dissemination, right? Maybe only the president and very, very few people get to know this information, right? Maybe it's information that's going to be divulged to the public. Maybe the information won't be divulged to the public, it'll just be divulged to key members and local law enforcement and so on, right? But that information is going to be disseminated to selected people. Whoever is in control of this information, whoever's the final say, the ultimate final say is the President of the United States, but whoever is the control of this information for particular whatever branch it might be the CIA, it might be FBI, it might be whatever, DOD, it doesn't really matter, but whoever's in control of this information is going to have the authority to disseminate that information to, you know, John or Jane Doe, whoever that person might be. And what ends up happening is you recognize, just as a bootleg, again, example, you know, 1 plus 2 is 3, 3 plus 3 is 6, so we have really created new information. We've manufactured information. So that the whole point of intelligence, right, and this is very, very important because I think this is a critical oversight of, you know, primarily graduate students, right? First year, oh, and also, I don't know, I've communicated with the author via email, but I don't think this book is intended for undergrads, right? This is a very sort of dense legal code analytic book, it's a very good book. I think it's more graduate. But most graduate students, you know, when you think about intelligence, and I've labeled it intelligence gathering, you think about sort of collecting information and making sense of it. The point, and which is true, the point is, however, at the end product of any good intel, the end product of any good intelligence, I'll say it again, the end product of any good intelligence gathering is new information, right? New information. So this is sort of the goal. New info. Now we recognize the new information that 1 and 2 and 3 are all part of the same structure. We thought they were different bits of information, but after going through this process, we recognize that 1, 2, and 3 are all part of the same structure, whatever that structure might be, and it's because of these phases: collecting that information, transferring that information for analysis, analyzing that information, and then disseminating that information. Now I get to know that that information means 6, X, whatever, you know? So that's again, a very, very general, very conceptual account of intelligence, the system dynamic approach to intelligence gathering. The point is, however, if you can understand this at this level, right, and take time so that you understand it, I think I was pretty clear, so you should understand this, right? But if you can understand this, then you can understand all of this discussion, right? And this discussion will progressively get more and more complicated. I'll substitute something technical for information. I'll substitute a department name for collection. I'll substitute another department name or a set of codes or laws for analysis. I'll substitute something else for dissemination, something else here, but really and truly this is a structure, right? All I'll be doing from here on out is removing these sort of general terms and substituting these general terms with something more complicated. I'll be giving you particular case studies in which there was a sense in which we thought that the information was not related, right? and then we recognized through analysis and collection of the information that it was in fact related, and how that new information functioned to protect the overall security of the nation. This is what goes on every single day behind closed doors, right? And this is like that scene in Men in Black, right, where Will Smith is like, if the regular person knew what was going on every day, like, you couldn't function because of all the threats and stuff that are perpetually happening, right, continuously happening, both externally and internally, right, both domestic and international. So with respect to analyzing and discussing intelligence gathering and the handling, technically speaking, the handling of intelligence, this is the systems design approach to intelligence handling. And again, I think one of the key parts to recognizing this is the realization that new information is the product of effective intelligence, right? Effective intelligence doesn't just tell me what I already know. Duh. Effective intelligence needs to tell me something new. It needs to take information that I once thought just to be information that's not connected and show me and legitimize the connection between those information to give me a new account of info. So what I want to do now is, again, as I said, I want to take this very, very sort of conceptually general account of intelligence handling and apply it specifically to the intelligence model for the Department of Homeland Security, right? So we're going to take this conceptual analysis and map this conceptual analysis directly onto the Department of Homeland Security, because it's, you know, if, as I quoted before in the beginning of this section, the Homeland Security Act of 2002 created the Department of Homeland Security and intended the intelligence component of the department to be the focal point for all terrorist-related intelligence to protect the nation, right? So if we're talking about intelligence gathering as a focal point for the Department of Homeland Security, and we recognize that there is a more general systemic account of intelligence handling, which exists independent to the Department of Homeland Security, just any intelligence for any organization, theoretically possible, then we recognize the Department of Homeland Security, and I'm not saying that they did this intentionally, but I've been doing this long enough to understand how this works. The Department of Homeland Security account and handling of intelligence, or any intelligence organization, it doesn't just have to be the Department of Homeland Security, any intelligence organization's handling of intelligence has to fit within this structure, right? Now, granted, this is a structure that I'm sort of describing, but theoretically, it has to fit within the structure. What I'll do later in this video is I'll justify this claim by referring to the legal code, the United States legal code, and various aspects of the law to show how there is a sense in which we can talk about collection. There is a sense in which we can talk about analysis and sharing of information. There is a sense in which we can talk about the dissemination of information and how that goes, and so on and so on and so on. Okay, so let's move to the next section. See, that's the problem with the red, it's hard to erase. I'll have to go back to that. Yeah, just erase this. Let me try the black again. I have markers in the car. Okay, next part of section 2 is application of CAD. Remember, collection, analysis, dissemination. Application of CAD intelligence model to the Department of Homeland Security initiative. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the CAD intelligence model, the model that I just finished describing. I'm going to take that model and apply it to the Department of Homeland Security initiative, right? And we'll see how the intelligence community is structured, specifically within the Department of Homeland Security, right? So the next is the intelligence architecture. Right? We're going to talk about the architecture, the structure, conceptually. And as we'll see even later, I'll get even more, I'll embed this more into sort of practical understanding, the actual buildings and, department heads and so on. The intelligence architecture for the Department of Homeland Security. Okay, so in talking about this intelligence architecture, there are 3 I'm identifying, and I'm not saying that there's only 3, but for lack of not even for lack of, to